I blame Obama. There's a couple different answers to this. One, your ideas actually weren't that good. Two, they're still in your head. You just don't remember them. Would you? You're lucky you're cute.
Now, I don't mean that in a patronizing way, but I'm 8 books published now? So, work on your vocabulary. And not just your vocabulary, but whether you're telling stories through like TikTok or social media and stuff, and the people that do urban legends and stuff, or the true crime shit, or you're an author, or you're a musician. Doing that kind of thing is a skill set, and it's not going to be something that comes naturally to someone unless they repeat it over and over again. So I'm old-fashioned. I like pen and paper. That's why I always carry one with me, and I've gotten into the habit of doing such. Ideas are a dime a dozen. I have thousands of them per day. I have notebooks filled with ideas, most of which are shit, or not necessarily shit, but not exactly fitting into my story. But being able to write everything down from the standpoint of an author and have it sort of make sense in book format is a skill in itself. I would suggest, if that's not working for you, talking to your camera. Go on your TikTok, create a draft. You don't have to publish it, but talk to yourself. Make notes on your phone or, do whatever. Honestly, it can feel disheartening when you have an idea and you forget it because it doesn't pan out for you, but it's kind of inconsequential. What you need to do, which is most important, is not try and do the story from beginning, middle to the climax. Just get the basic premise, like a group of astronauts go to colonize Mars and they find an underground species that have been living there all along. Right? It doesn't have to be good, but whatever. Use that as a premise, write that down, and then expand on that on paper or on your computer or whatever. But build from a skeleton. Don't try and do everything in your head. If you think of random things like one-liners and stuff that might be funny, sure, go ahead, jot them down. But at the end of the day, it's just kind of irrelevant because a lot of people that are authors are sort of a mix between plotters and pantsers, flying by the seat of your pants. No matter how much you plot, everyone to some degree is going to have things that while they're writing pop into their head and they incorporate that in their story. Like right here, the sound of her bad day could be heard in her footsteps. No idea where that came from, but I thought it sounded kind of cool. These are just notes, reminding me not to make the villains the only member of a marginalized community. Explain their reason for being, make them believable, blah, blah, blah. Another line that I'm going to use, you have the personality of a slightly tilted picture frame. Then you just have, rough general outlines. And random things that you think of as you're writing. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to even make sense as long as it makes sense to you. You can use apps like World Anvil and stuff to organize all your brainstorming and stuff, but I'm way too disorganized for that personally. But yeah, long-winded way of saying it's a habit and you haven't quite formed it yet. The biggest roadblock I see a lot of authors make is that they think they need to do everything from the onset. Carry a notebook with you. Jot down ideas as they come. And if that doesn't pan out, be kind to yourself. Because eventually it will become second nature. And I promise you, if you write an entire book, by the time you're done and have that story fleshed out, you will not be able to forget those new ideas because they are attached to a story and characters that you are emotionally attached to. If I think of a funny thing for Derek to say in my books, then I'm going to remember that because I know what Derek's personality is. So next time I start writing about him in a certain scene, I'm going to remember that, even if I didn't have the time to jot it down. And if I didn't, maybe it wasn't that funny.